Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of my Turbo Bandit project. So if you watched the first episode that was explaining what the project's all about and what I look out for on a new bike, if you've watched that video, you'll know that the bike wasn't running on all 4 cylinders. And now before I actually start doing any of the turbo work, I want to make sure the bike can run okay and everything's fine with it before I start trying to tune it and get power out of it. So today we're going to be taking the carbs off and having a look and seeing why it's not running right. Now, a few people have asked me to try and show a little bit more when I'm working on the bikes and sort of explain a few more bits. So today I'm going to be putting on a GoPro on my head and then using that footage as much as possible to show you what I'm doing. So hopefully it's a good angle and a good view, and I'll try not to cut too much out, and I'll just use the footage as I do the work and stuff. So hopefully you enjoy that. So let's start working on the bike. Okay, so let's make a start, shall we? We need to take the seat off with the key. Now normally I'd take the panels off, but I'm just not really in the mood today, so I'm just going to undo the tank, which is a 5mm Allen key. Now you can remove the tank without removing these panels. It can be a little bit more awkward, but it is doable, so we shall see how we get on. And I tend to use that bit down there to put all my nuts and bolts in. So let's remove these as well. That's those removed, so I can move these panels out just like that. I'll try and pop that out. That one's popped out, so not sure if you can see here, but there's a wire, just that one, and that is for the fuel gauge, so you've got to disconnect that before you do it. Now for this bit I'm going to use Bill's assistance. I'm going to get Bill to hold the tank up for me while I get in there with the pliers and take the fuel line off and the vacuum hose off. So if I could get Bill to come in and give us a hand. Here we go. I might hold the tank while Bill does this. Pliers are just there, Bill. And then he's going to pull these off, which don't actually have clips on. Excellent. And now the tank's off. Now, as you can see, we've got the tank out of the way, and the guy I bought it from did say he'd done some work on the bike. It's only had 4 owners, so I imagine it probably was the last guy. You can see which HT lead goes to which cylinder, which is quite nice really. You can see he's been doing a bit of work on it and took his time and stuff. So next thing I'm going to do is take the airbox cover off. Now I'm doing this because when you buy a bike, you never quite know what air filter it's got in. Sometimes you're surprised and you find a nice K&N filter or something like that in there. So let's have a look and see if we find any nice surprises, shall we? So let's wiggle that. Haha! We do have a K&N filter. Looks like it's been in there a fair while. But yeah, always a pleasant surprise. Now, the next part to take off are these airbox covers. I think it's that size. There we go. That's one down. So these have got a little popper on them, and then a little bit at the top. So that's off. We'll take this side off as well. There we go. Now the airbox can be moved around and is fairly free. So we're really cracking on with this, and yeah, we're almost ready to start taking the carbs off. So what I'll do first is work out where the carbs are done up from. So I might have to move around the bike. Have a look here. So there's the first one. We'll loosen that off nicely. There we go. And the next one is hidden all the way down there. Having one of these slightly longer screwdrivers can be handy when you're undoing the carbs. I'd definitely recommend getting one. So the next thing I'm going to do is remove the TPS, the throttle position sensor, and undo this side of the carbs while we're around this side. So we're undoing the front bit now. That's nice and loose. And then we'll undo this one. We can move around to the other side and undo the other carbs. So, not sure how well you can see it, but undo the front bit here. I'll undo that one, just hidden down in there. We'll undo that one there. Then we've got one more hidden away. There we go, finally on it. Okay, so we're all pretty ready to take the carbs off. So I need to move the airbox just like that, and then give the carbs a bit of a wiggle. and they're almost off. Now, one thing I have forgotten to do is the airbox has two little arms. One's just there and one's just there, and actually bolted up, and that's to stop the airbox moving back too far. So what I might have to do is get a screwdriver on that, and then it'll make life getting the carbs out that bit easier. Right, so one more pipe we need to remove, which is this breather here. Should be able to clip that together myself. Just pop that off. Get that out of the way, tuck it under here. So the airbox should move a little bit more. There we go. And now what we need to try and do is sort of move these up. And I always like to take the carbs out the top if I can. There we go. So we need to remove the jerk cable. That's removed. And then what we need to do, probably move that out the way to make life easier. We've got to undo those. So 10mm. Get the throttle cables undone. There we go. That's one released. That one's already fairly loose. That's another one loose. Now, something I like to use is one of these little picky tools. I'm not sure the proper name for them, but they make life a lot easier. So that one will come out like that. And then the other cable, if we can feed it through the carb, just to make it a bit more room, and then again push it out of the way. There we go. That is a set of Bandit carbs removed. So let's get them on the bench and then have a look and see why the bike might. So let's get them on the bench and have a look and see why the bike might not be running on all four cylinders. So we got the carbs here. Now, before we strip them down, I'm probably not going to strip the whole set down. When I bought the bike off the guy, he said he'd ultrasonically clean them, and you know they should be okay. And obviously he was a bit sort of, you know, perplexed as to why they weren't running on all four. Now, if you look at them, these are probably the cleanest set of Bandit 12 carbs I've ever seen in my life. Normally they're pretty minging. I mean, you know, like all the, I think it's zinc plating on these, like, you know, it's unbelievably clean and shiny and bright and yellow. So, you know, even the screws on the butterflies are clean. I just, like I say, I cannot believe how clean these carbs are. Apart from maybe that little bit of black there, but not sure what that's all about. But yeah, they are a pretty clean set of carbs. Now, the only issue is obviously the number 4 cylinder's not working. We discovered that by touching the pipes and measuring the temperatures, and it's definitely number 4. So what I'm going to do is open number 4 now, and then hopefully see if there's any other problems. Now, one thing I'm just noticing before I open it up is in here is the mixture screw. Now, all of these are set at different angles, which to me says they're probably not all set up the same. So before I put these back on the bike, I'll probably reset these and see how we get on. But let's open the carb bowl up. Hopefully we find a problem that's glaring and obvious, and then it'll be a nice easy fix, because who doesn't like a nice easy fix? Ah, that was fuel on the floor, wasn't it? Sorry. So, let's open it up, shall we? The heads and the bolts aren't too screwed up or chewed up, which is always good. Come undone rather nice. Right, so let's have a look and see. Well, that looks alright. Gasket doesn't look bad. There's a couple of little bits, I don't know how well you can see this on the camera, but there's a couple of little bits of dirt in there, but nothing majorly obvious, which isn't a good thing necessarily, because we want to find a problem. So I'm just going to move these around a little bit now. The one thing I would say is that float height looks rather low. Now, if we have a look in here, I'm going to say that that float needle, or needle jet, you hear it called loads of things, is actually knackered. So I'm just going to open this one up just quick to show you an example. Hopefully this one's alright, of what it should be like. And if that is all it is, fingers crossed, we're not going to have a terrible day. So let's pop this one off and have a look. Now, this one's exactly the same, which is weird. Right, I am probably going to have to open them all up, I think, but so when you're balancing carbs, what you actually have to do is you're not supposed to measure them like that, because the height will be wrong. What you're actually supposed to do is do it like, have them like that, and then at a bit of an angle, so it's only just resting. And now it seems to be working better than it was, because they're supposed to move like that. But they're not quite right. So I'm going to ask Bill for the calipers or verniers, and we should measure them. Now, I haven't got the book in front of me, but I'm pretty sure they're around 14, around the 14 mil mark. So we'll just have a quick look and see, and just see roughly where they're at. So if you look at that, don't know if you can see with the camera angles, but that is definitely wrong. It's way too low. So what we'll have to do is bend this little tab down a little bit, which will raise it up. So now it's a little bit high, so a little bit of a bend on the tab, give it a bounce. Spot on. Right, so let's do this one as well, shall we? So again, bit of an angle, we'll put that there, and you can see it's a bit low. So what we'll do is we'll bend that tab down just a little, got a little bit more bounce, and you can see it's pretty spot on. So right, let's take the main jet out, see what's happening there. See if we can notice anything. So, they look like standard jets. 102.5 I think is standard. I'll have to look in the book and I'll post up if that is the right size or not. Hang on. Yeah, that looks all clean. Everything else around there looks alright. So, let's put that back in. Okay, so what I might do now is have a look at the pilot jet. I've took that out and that rubber O-ring doesn't look the best, but we'll probably get away with it. We'll have a look at that. And the taper looks pretty good. I'd almost say they're new. So, that looks alright. There's a little bit of jello or something congealed around the edge here. Not sure what that is. But we'll pop that back in there. Out of what? What, at the thing? That one?
Yeah. Got it in there.
So I'm going to have a quick look at the jet. Can be a bit fiddly. Easy to drop. Now, the thing with these is, do they bounce? Which that one is. So that's one part it needs to do. Now the other part is really hard to see, but there should be a taper all the way around, and it shouldn't have any lines or depressions or anything because it can let fuel leak past it, but it looks pretty good. I'm gonna go as far as I'm saying I'm happy with that at the moment. So let's try and pop this back on. Bit fiddly. There we go. So we'll pop that in the bowl. We know which one it's come out of then. So let's have a look at the pilot jet. See if we can get this out without chewing it up. That is the wrong size screwdriver, so I'm going to have to get a smaller one. Let's give this one a try, shall we? There we go. Might have to turn it upside down. You don't want to come out. There we go. Almost got her. So that's your little pilot jet. It looks like someone's had that in and out before, but then, like I say, the previous owner did say he'd cleaned them all. So I'd imagine he's took the jets out. Yeah, looks pretty clean. I mean, obviously, you know, it's hard to judge, but the hole looks the right sort of size, so yeah, we're not going to complain about that too much. So we're going to put this back in very carefully. There we go, all done. Right, so let's measure that again, because I'm not that sure, not that happy about that one. No, that is pretty well. pretty well where it needs to be. So, right, bit of an interesting one. I think what I might do is put this back together, reset all the mixer screws, and then I might have a look in the top and see if there's anything up with the diaphragm, because sometimes you find problems there. So yeah, I'll be back with you in just a minute. Okay, so put the carb bowls back on. I've set them to the correct height, which is 14.6 millimeters. Now what I'm going to do is wind all of these in and then wind them out to 1 3/4 turns, which is what the factory says. So let's see how many turns in this is. So that's half, that's 1, 1.5, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that was 4 turns out. We'll leave that one for now. That's a lot more than I'd ever expect. So let's try this one. So that's half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. Hang on, I'm gonna sneeze. No, I'm not. So it was at 3, wasn't we? Yep. So 3. About 3.25. Okay, so they weren't even close. So let's do this one. So half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.25. Okay. So let's go half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.25. Okay, so that one was 4. The rest of roughly 3.25. So let's wind them out, shall we? So it should be 1 3/4 turns. I'm going to round it up because it's easier and just say 2 turns. I'm happy with 2. So that's half. That's 1, 1.5, 2. Let's try this one. So half, 1, 1.5, 2. I'm happy with that. Let's try this one. So half, 1, 1.5, 2. Alright, last one. Let's go half, 1, 1.5, 2. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip this over just quick, and then I'm going to have a look and see if there's anything I can find in the top half of the carb, see if there's any problems with the spring or the diaphragm or anything like that, and then we'll be able to put them back on the bike, and fingers crossed it runs on 4 cylinders. Now I know we haven't done a lot, but the float heights makes a hell of a difference, and so does the mixer screws. So I'm hoping one of those issues has fixed it. So let's have a quick look. Need to be careful taking this off because there's a little O-ring there. Spring looks alright. Diaphragm's all alright. I'm going to take that out, just have a quick look. just gentle. So, needle looks okay, doesn't look particularly worn. All of that in there is how it should be. Needle spacers. So those, I'm pretty sure, shouldn't be there. Okay, so as I was saying just a moment ago, I'm not sure about those washers. I'm not sure if they should actually be there. I need to look at the parts diagram on the website, but I'm in the garage, so yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that back in the slide. That all looks good. Diaphragm doesn't have any holes in it, so I'll pop that back in there without trying to drop the washers. So I'll pop that back in there. There we go, and then we'll pop that back in here. There we go, make sure that seals round. Sorted. So we put the top bit on, and don't forget, make sure your O-ring's on there. We'll put the screws in, and then we're going to move on to putting the carbs back on the bike. So, carbs are all buttoned up. It's time to put them back on. So, first job is the throttle cables. Now, luckily, someone's labelled them already, so should be pretty good. So let's feed these through. Here's my little picky tool. That's that one done. That's that one connected. So we'll flip this one over, put this one through. And then that one's done. So 10mm, we'll try and do these up. That's that one done. There we go. So we'll pop the fuel feed back up through here. And now we'll pop the carbs back in the way we took them out. I'll put the choke cable back in. Just need to move that, jiggle that. go. Carbs are almost in. So what we tend to do is wobble them backwards and forwards, just like that. They're going rather nice. So there we have it. Got the breathers to sort out. Poke them down out of the way. So the airbox has been a little fiddly. What I'm going to do is do up the front carb clip, get all these four done up, and then I'm going to put the petrol tank back on just for now and give it a start, see what happens, just see if it is running on 4. We'll know without putting the airbox on. So let me just get these 4 done up. Now, I almost forgot, need to put the breather back on. Let's route that round where it needs to be. Now I'll go pick up the tank, we'll get that on, get these 2 on, we'll see if it starts. Now, might have to block the view for a moment. There we go. So now what I need to do is, it's kind of tough to get the fuel pipe and the vacuum on. There we go. So I've got the key. I'm going to stick the bike on prime just because we know the carbs are empty. Going to put the choke on, and then one thing I'm going to do is wait to see any fuel leaks out, because obviously if you've been messing around with the float heights, I could have set them wrong, I doubt it. They're set at 14.6 ish, plus or minus the mil like the book says, but you never know, you might have got something wrong. It does happen to the best of us. So we have no fuel. I plugged the TPS in, although they don't seem to actually do anything on a Bandit. Right, let's turn the ignition on. Let's see what happens, shall we? Okay, it doesn't want to tick over just yet. And now the choke doesn't want to work, which is strange. Not sure what's going on there. There we go. Try again. Well, okay, so we learned a few things. He doesn't want to tick over, but then I don't have the airbox connected. And the sort of spitting, hissing noise generally means that there's an air leak of some sort, which obviously I don't have the airbox on. I've just kind of thrown it together, so I can kind of understand that a little bit. It did sound a lot better when I first fired it up on the choke, but obviously as we let the choke off, it started running on sort of 3 cylinders again. So I think what I need to do is put the airbox on, try it again, see what happens. But yeah, might need some more investigation. Well, things don't always go to plan, don't always work out first time, but I'm not too bothered. We've had a bit of a go and we've not really found too many problems, found a few little bits we had to change and it's not quite right. I still need to put the airbox on really, just make sure there's no air leaks and bits and bobs like that. But yeah, so this time hasn't been a success, but that's the way things go sometimes, you can't win them all. So I've made a list of parts I need for the turbo bike. I've picked out a turbo. It's a TD04-13T, which comes off of a early Subaru Impreza turbo. I need to try and get some stainless steel pipe. I want to try and sort of get a kit together that's got some 180 degree bends and 90 degrees and bits and bobs like that. I also need the flanges for the headers, the 4 that go across the cylinder head. I need one that goes into the turbo and then the exhaust one for the turbo as well, plus some pipe work for the turbo. I need some aluminium, some sheet and some pipe work again to build the plenum and all the pipe work and associated stuff. I need a fuel pressure regulator, a fuel pump and an oil scavenge pump. And then I need a few oil lines and bits and bobs like that to make all the turbo system work. So I've pretty well got an idea of what I need. I just need to work out where to get them from and get them ordered in really. So thanks again for watching guys. I hope this video's been of interest to you. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want to catch up with all our videos, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon and you'll get a notification every time we do an upload. So until next time, we'll see you later.